The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I wanted to just touch base with you all. We got a couple things going on just post Labor Day weekend, and despite that, we still have great attendance for today's webinar. So we're going to talk with Dave Pimper today, and we're going to talk about using seminars to grow your business around 401k and IRA rollover type business. So always a great webinar, great way. As you all know, there's plenty of funds that focus and are set up in qualified accounts that can be able for us to do business with. And having someone like Dave Pimper who understands that marketplace and understands the role of seminars in growing your business is really a nice benefit to us and our producers. So Dave will be joining us shortly. As we get rolling here, a couple things I want to mention to you. There'll be a couple polls that pop up. If you would answer those as quickly as possible, I would sure appreciate it. If you have any questions during the course of the event, type them in and hit send, and we'll get them asked and answered as quickly as we can. Wanted to make sure that you are all aware of some of the things that we do here in terms of helping you grow your business. So one of them is pretty straightforward, and one of our better and longer term programs. We call it our referred producer program. We call it RPM, actually, referred producer money. And the way that it works is quite simple. When you refer somebody and they get contracted, we send you a check for $50. That's just the beginning. It's like a little thank you for getting them aboard with us. But what it really starts to add up some real dollars for you is we actually pay a bonus on any business that they do for as long as they're with us. As of, for instance, when someone let's say they, on the annuity side, simply put, they do $100,000 annuity case with us, and we're going to send you a check for $200, and we're going to do that. We don't take anything from the referee's pocket. It all comes from our marketing and advertising budget, because we know that the best way to meet new producers and to gain new relationships is through referrals, just like you. And we know those are some of the best leads that we're going to get, so we want to reward you for those and make it beneficial for you to refer people to IAMs. Another thing that we do is we put money into your marketing reimbursement account. Similarly, when you do business with us, we put money into your account based on the product type and based on the carrier. It varies a little bit. So I always tell people a good rule of thumb is that for every $100,000 of premium on the annuity side, we put $100 in. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's a little bit less. On the life side, we for every dollar of target premium they put in, I think we put like 10% into your marketing reimbursement account. Single premium, I think we put maybe 20% 20 basis points on the SPL side. So we're doing everything that we can to reward you when you do business with us, or when your referee does business with us. So thank you for your referrals. Thank you for your business. This is a good way to show it, and tap in your marketing reimbursement and RPM accounts to help grow your business. I want to make sure, too, the folks aboard with us that are new producers, folks that have not yet done business with us or just started doing business with us very recently. In your first 180 days, you can claim bonuses based on your level of business at either the 100,000, 300,000, or 500,000 level. That 500,000 level, 300,000, 100,000, that equates dollar for dollar with annuity premium. You get about 1.5 credits for your single premium life premium. You get about 12 to 13 credits per dollar of target on your life business. And all of those go together to help you reach those new producer levels. For instance, if you look at the 500,000 level, you can see that you can pretty much get in the seminar business. If you said after our webinar today, if you said, hey, I like what Dave's doing, write 500,000 business with us, we're going to pay for the coaching, we're going to pay for your mailing, we're going to pay for everything that you need to get started on doing seminars. So it's a great way to get yourself into the seminar business and let us pay for it. You can see before you what some of those other opportunities are. You can tap into marketing reimbursement. So a lot of folks at the 300,000 point level will tap into that 2,000 of marketing reimbursement. It's a great way to pad your marketing dollars and to grow what you can do on a marketing side, whether you want to do websites, mailings, anything that you want to do, Facebook posts, any kind of social media, digital advertising you want to do, all that can be used. We can help you with that, get you that done at a really inexpensive price, and then pay for it with your marketing reimbursement. So great way to grow your business. Great back office support here. Anyone out there that's done business with us, I think is probably well familiar with our back office support. So we spend a lot of time trying to help people get their business in the door properly and out the door and get you paid commission as quickly as we can. So watch for anything that, whether it's you write your first app and we're going to scrub it, make sure that everything is properly done, keeping you updated on what's happening with your business on pretty much a daily or weekly basis. So for instance, if something is going on with your business, so we're going to tap into each carrier. We're going to see if anything has changed. We're going to let you know that day. Otherwise, we're going to check your business pretty much. Amber's team will do it about every 3 days where they'll just update you and say, hey, everything is still going as planned, or hey, we're doing this or that for you. We even go as far as helping to get the transfers done when you're doing 1035s. So we're going to go the extra mile for you. We just had one of our a smaller agent incentive meeting here at Tahoe, and I did ask the guys, hey, how did that go? How is our back office support? We always get great feedback on that. We are on the ball for you there, so we're going to keep that. That's part of what makes IAMS, I think, better than most in terms of companies and FMOs to do your business with, and we're going to keep that up for you. Creative marketing solutions. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's a lot of things that you can use your marketing reimbursement for, and we take care of. There's a lot of things that our marketing team does for our producers pretty much on a gratis basis. So if you just need a logo or want some help with your letterhead design, things like that, we'll help you do that pretty much at no cost. Now, let's say you say, hey, I need to get 1,000 business cards or 1,000 pieces of letterhead and envelopes, whatever we can negotiate for the best price there for you, then we use your marketing reimbursement to do that. But anything that they do for you, all those the things that they do digitally, we're helping you with your website. There's some cost to that, but minimal. We can help you with that. We'll help you kind of put a digital marketing plan together. If you're not doing anything right now with Facebook or LinkedIn to grow your business, we can help you with that. We got some guys guys and gals that do some email marketing. We've helped them with that as well. There's a lot of things that we can do. And a lot of the stuff that we can help you with is you can take a look at it on our website as well and say, hey, I like this piece. I'd like to get that set up with my logo and my contact information. We can do that for you at no cost. So a lot of things that we do. Basically, you've got a very industry-specific, success-driven marketing advertising agency right here at IAMS at your disposal. I encourage you to take advantage of it. Website. So we're doing a little bit of work on our website here today, and we're going to finish it up by the end of the week. But I want to encourage you all. and maybe today won't be the best day to go in and look at it because of the work that we're doing on it. But I want to encourage you all at some point here in the next few days to take a quick look at the website, see the tools out there, and you might even call your sales director and say, okay, hey, this is a little bit about what I do, how I do it. What on your website is going to be valuable to me? Whether it's our sales resource library where you've got a bunch of fact finders and forms and tools and things that you can use to help you on a daily basis, or the IAMS term quoter engine, the IAMS underwriting engine. There's a lot of different tools out there that are custom built for our business that we hope you take advantage of. And when I look at our website traffic, I see, probably 15 to 18,000 hits a month. Between 6 to 10,000 folks that are accessing our website. Based on what we have on there, it seems like it should be higher than that, in my opinion, and I think it's because a lot of it is the guys and gals out there that work with us don't know all the resources out there. So get with your sales director and say, hey, walk me across that website and show me what's out there that can be helpful for me. Retirement Analyzer, a nice little piece of software that if you're not using a financial planning software tool and you think you might want to, give Marcus a call in our office. Retirement Analyzer is as good as it gets. It's as thorough and concise and user-friendly a package as there is out there. That's why we pay for it for our producers. So the way that works is really quite simple. When guys are just getting associated with IAMS, we'll make it available to you at no cost. So you can get in and look at it. Spend about 20, 30 days looking at their website. It's all online. Maybe spend some time with Marcus, and you can look at that and say, this is something that I don't want to use, maybe more thorough than I like, or this isn't the kind of comprehensive financial planning tool that I usually use with clients. Maybe you have one that you're already happy with. That's great too. But if you don't, if you're looking for something better, take a look at the Retirement Analyzer. Let Marcus spend a little bit of time with you, walk you through it, how it works. If after 30 days you say, hey, this is not something I want, that's great. That helps us. That frees up a spot for us. If it's something that you do want and you're doing business with us, then we'll make it available to you, and we'll continue to pay your ongoing fee for it monthly. If you want to continue to use it and you're not doing business with us, that would be something we'd want to chat about, because we do pay a monthly fee for everyone that accesses that. So we want to make sure that it's something that's going to help us have a business relationship together. But for 30 days, you can try it out, see if it works for you. And like I said, if you're not using something like that, I think you're going to find it useful. IAMS Wealth Management. I want to throw up a quick poll here, I think. And if you have considered getting into the IAR RIA business, what you're going to find is IAMS Wealth is going to be as good a spot for that as any. And the reason for that is that if you're just getting started, we're like you. We've been in the we're relatively new. So we've been doing this now. The IAMS Wealth, we're 40, 50 million in assets under management. Been doing it for about 14, 18 months. And the benefit to that for you is that you're going to find that you're going to get very, very one-on-one, hands-on assistance at every step. Most of the folks that work with us on the wealth management side are guys that came to us and came to that business through the insurance business. So you've got a lot of folks that understand you very well from that background. If you're somebody that maybe has your IAR and not happy with the support that you're currently getting from your RIA, I just say, hey, give them a shot. Let Mike or Charles chat with you, tell them what we do. What you're going to find from a fee standpoint, what we charge on a monthly basis for our guys is very, very inexpensive. And that's things, the technology fees and making available to you. The website is included in that. We're going to include your E&O in that as well. So we're going to take care of a lot of expenses for you for really very low fees, and our payouts are higher than most. So most of our guys are charging fees around 1% and still charging a client no more than about 1.8, 1.9 in total for the fees. So very, very inexpensive for an all-in, all fees covered type of RIA. And like I said, you're going to find them very easy to work with for folks that are kind of just getting rolling in that business. And our platforms are excellent. So if that's something you have interest in, by all means, looks like most everybody, just a couple of you haven't voted, and I see a lot of you are already with us with IAMS Wealth. That's great. If you would just put no on that, we won't have Mike and Charles call you because you're probably already talking to them on on a pretty much a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So for those of you that have some interest, hit yes. And there's the final vote, or it looks like almost the final vote. If you weren't able to vote because you were not online and able to watch, or you aren't able to vote for some reason, just give us a call here at the office at 800-255-5055, and we'll go ahead and get you in touch with just the right people. With that, I'm going to close that poll so we can get moved along here. I'm going to throw up another poll as well. So some of you I know have joined us at academies in the past. I'm just looking at our list of attendees. And so you already know what we talk about. You know, the key is that we've got 4 producers that come and kind of give you a little background on what they do, how they do it, and how they've grown their business, and some very specific marketing and sales approaches that can be very beneficial. Beyond that, we'll talk about indexed annuities. We'll spend some time saying, hey, what's happening within our industry? You know, the DOL is a big threat to us, but that's not the only threat that's out there, and some things that you need to know to make sure that your business stays just the way that you want it to go. We're going to go over some ways to help you get business on the single premium life side, doing some overfunding on some life insurance business in general, some great wealth transfer for tools, and then of course we're going to go over some of our software tools that can help you grow our business. So we don't spend a lot of time really much on product. If you're out there and you're just starting to learn about the insurance business, this may not be the right academy for you, or the right seminar to attend, because this is really, we're kind of beyond products at this point and talking more about sales concepts and marketing concepts and growing your business on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to help you get to where you want to be. So it's really producer driven, but we will also have carriers. We'll be there. We'll give you some great insights into what we know has worked for some of our other producers. The carriers will give you some great insights into things that they know about what can help you grow your business. And it's a great couple of days. We do take care of the expenses associated with that. So we'll take care of your travel. We'll take care of your lodging, take care of your meals while you're there. The next one is going to be in Des Moines, Iowa. We're going to do it in conjunction with one of our carriers, the North American, who is really a leader in the indexed and life arenas right now. If you haven't looked at their products, you don't know that, but if you have, you know they're one of the best out there. So we'll spend some time at their home office. We'll spend some time doing some training at our hotel in Des Moines, and all in all, we'll have some great time to meet and spend some time together. And you'll be with 25 or 30 of your cohorts in the business, and that's always a great opportunity to share sales and business ideas and things to help you grow your business. So if you have interest in joining us, and I see most of you already have taken the opportunity to hit yes or no on that poll. If you have joined us, I see we've got a couple of folks that have joined us in the past that have voted yes, which is great. I know from experience that once you've been to one, you want to come back. What we like to do is give folks maybe that haven't had an opportunity to join us, we like to give them the chance first. So hope you understand that. Now, if you have been in the last couple of years and you want to come back in, I'd certainly love to have that conversation with you personally. Give me a call at the office at 800-255-5055. We can talk through that and see if that might make sense for you at this time. With that, I'm going to close that poll as well. Thank you all again for being so quick to vote. We really do appreciate that. And we'll get moving along here. So many of you are familiar with our Top Producers Escapes and Marketing Summits that we do. Next one coming up is going to be next August. We're going to go to Naples, Florida. You can see before you the opportunities to qualify are very reasonable. So it only takes $3 million of annuity premium. Takes 2.2 of SPL, about 250,000 of life target. Any one of those. Any combination of any one of those will get you and your guest invited to the Ritz-Carlton there at Naples. Beautiful area. It'd be a great time to be there. I know our group has wanted to go to a nice sunny warm beach for quite a while. The sands in Naples are beautiful. It's on the Gulf Coast, so it'll be a great time to kick back and enjoy some time on the beach if that's what you want to do. And there's plenty of other things to do while you're there as well. So we'd love to have you all join us for that. I'm going to back up here just a moment. And we will soon get Dave Pimper aboard with us. Dave, are you with us yet?
I am. How are you doing?
Great, Dave. I want you to take a few minutes, if you would, and kind of go through introductory of a little bit about you, your firm, and your background, if you would. And I've got to take care of a little technical issue real quick.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Hey, thanks for everybody being on the line with us today for the day after Labor Day. Quite a few folks with us today for the webinar. Hope you had an enjoyable holiday. Yeah, my name is Dave Pimper, and I've been in the business financial arena since 1981. 3 years with insurance, and then all the rest of the years have been from an investment side. And really, the insurance that I do now, I do a little single premium life business, but my mainstay is fixed indexed annuities and some fixed annuities. And I really just use that for the guaranteed portion of the portfolio. So I've been in the business for a long, long time. I do the majority of my business from the investment side, with the exception of the guarantees, which I do use insurance because it's really it's a competitive alternative to some of the other types of guarantees and insured. But I enjoy marketing. I enjoy coaching people on how to get in front of people. Our business is pretty unique in that it's a pretty easy business if you were talking to somebody of how to be successful in a business. You want to get in front of enough qualified prospects, and then you want to close enough qualified prospects. I mean, that's pretty much it. I would say that in our business, the average person is a pretty darn good salesperson, but they may not have a consistent track that they work with of getting in front of qualified prospects. And that's what seminar marketing really does. It really gets you in front of hopefully 10 or 12 appointments that are set appointments from that seminar itself. Now, there's a couple different areas. We've got 4 or 5 different seminars that we work on a consistent basis, but the 2 right now that have really, I think, garnered the most attention as far as production in interest are 401k IRA rollovers and Social Security workshops. Social Security workshops, it's interesting because there are quite a few folks now that do that within our industry, but not many. They may have a bullet point on 401ks and IRA rollovers, but what's very, very interesting is that not very many workshops what you see that are given by advisors and agents out there are totally around and solely around the 401k IRA rollover. So as Steve's kind of getting the slides up, I would like to start and just to kind of give you an idea a little bit talking about the 401k IRA rollover marketplace. It's a huge marketplace. It's a multi-trillion dollar marketplace. When I talk about 401k, I'm also talking about 401k, 403b, 457 government plan. Those are the big company retirement plans. Now, as you probably know, I'm sure everyone knows in our business, when you're working kind of the pre-retired and retired crowd, this is probably the largest asset that they have. They've been putting into it for years and years and years. And it used to be, I mean, back in the early 80s when you just started seeing those plans and rolling over some, if you had a $50,000 piece of rollover business, it was big. Now you're seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not the larger ones, over $1 million, which I've worked with before. So if you're not working this marketplace, you should. I mean, there's a lot of money, and what happens is also if you're in the fixed indexed annuity business, the guarantees in 401ks have just not been very competitive as of the past years. So this really revolves around that, and I see that we're kind of up and going now. So he'll kind of throw me Steve will on the controls, and hopefully I can scroll through this. If there's any questions, I want you to go in and just type those on in, and then we will certainly ask those at the end. I'm going to go through, those are the actual slides that are in the workshop itself. It is not all of them. This is about an hour presentation. We have all the language on the slides. I wrote all the language. It's been FINRA reviewed, so if you're securities licensed, but it's a good workshop. And what I think what's important here is to know that even if you think that you're an expert within the 401k IRA rollover arena, you probably don't have the expertise that you really think you have. And the reason is because it's complicated. There's a lot going on within within this structure. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, certainly go in and put them in, and we will answer those for you.
Dave, on your screen right now, do you see the?
I do. Okay. I do, but I can't. I don't have controls. So could you help me go to the next slide till we get this going?
Yep. There we go.
Okay, real good. Next one, please. We're going to do a little bit of a poll, a little bit of a kind of a question and answer. So, how much do you really know? And you can go ahead and scroll down. Here it says this little quiz. You make your initial Roth IRA contribution for the 2015 tax year on April 15th, which you can up to when you file your return, tax return of 16. How many years do you have to wait to withdraw all of your money tax-free? So in a Roth IRA, how long do you have to hold it that it's all tax-free? And the average person says, I'm going to give the answer, not 3 years, 8.5 months. Nope, they say 5 years. And it is 5 years if that money would have been put in on 1/1/2015. Interestingly enough, no matter where you put your money in, whether it's April the 15th, March the 1st, December the 20th of the year before, it all reverts back to 1/1/2015 as far as the starting date. So you only have to really hold it for 3 years and 8.5 months if you put it on the 15th of April. Very interesting because everybody says 5 years. Huh. Okay, that's a tricky question. Okay, next question. What type of trust do you have to establish for your IRA when your intent is to make sure your designated or your human beneficiary within that trust are able to stretch out the tax deferral for their lifetime? So we're talking about an inherited IRA here. So what type of trust do you have to have? A see-through trust, a look-through trust. You're looking through, or you're seeing through. It's a type of a conduit trust. You're looking through for a heartbeat. That's the type of trust it has to be.
Dave, you should have the controls now, by the way.
Okay, real good. So, thank you very much. Great, Steve. What type of trust do you have to establish for your non-IRA with annuity when your intent is to make sure your designated human beneficiaries within that trust are able to stretch out the tax deferral? So it's a non-IRA. What kind of trust you got to have? It's a trick question. You got to have, can't be accomplished. Not if it's an IRA, it can be inherited or stretched out, but not a non-qualified. The 5-year tax rule, taking out over 5 years, the ones that applies. What does the designation of per stirpes pertaining to with beneficiaries mean? What's that mean? Per stirpes. Well, there's per capita, meaning per head, and per stirpes means per bloodline. So if you have two brothers and the mom passes, and let's say one of those brothers passed also has kids, but they never changed the beneficiaries, it would go down through his kids, not to the in-law, not to the wife, but to the bloodline of those children. If, of course, you could always change it with beneficiaries. Okay, so now I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but I think the important thing here is to kind of look of kind of the meat of this presentation. We have language, and I wrote out all the language, so I'm beating my chest a little bit, but it's pretty good language. Passed all of the hurdles with FINRA on their review. So here's what happens, and I'm going to talk about 401ks as the twin sisters of 403bs and 457s, but you know, when you get let go, you get fired, you quit, you retire, as long as you have $5,000 or more, you can do nothing. You can roll it over to a new company retirement plan. You could take a lump sum distribution, and there's a couple of reasons why that could be worthwhile. You could convert to a Roth IRA. You could roll over or transfer to a traditional IRA. Okay, so let's go in and we'll talk a little bit about kind of how I like to go in and give good points and then negative points also, so it's a true education, not just one-sided. But you could do nothing at all. So if you do nothing at all, it stays there. As long as they'll let you keep it there, and almost all companies will at 5,000 or more, they'll let you keep it in the plan. Okay? Secondly, you could go in, and why would you want to leave it in your 401k? One of the rules that most people don't know about is the 55-year rule. So 55-year-old or age rule. So if you're 55 years of age and you're let go, you retire, you quit, you're fired from that company retirement plan and you have a 401k, you can take money out just as if you were 59 and a half without any kind of 10% penalty. Pretty cool. Now, if you're 54, you can't keep it there till you're 55 and then take it out. Nope. You have to be, upon termination or leaving the company, you have to be 55 years of age or older. Now, once you're over 59 and a half, it makes no difference because, of course, you won't have a 10% penalty there. But most people don't know it's at 55. So I had a kind of a unique situation. There was a couple $300,000 on a 401k. I asked it, they were 56 years of age, and they had done well. They didn't really need this money. They had some other rental properties and pensions and things that they were going to pull from. But he said, yeah, we might need a car. So we held $50,000 in the 401k, and we rolled over $250,000. Because in the IRA, you have to take a 10% penalty before the age of 59 and a half, but not with the 401k as long as the event happened, the severing event for the company happened, if you're 55 years of age or older. So there's a window between 55 and 59 and a half. Also, ERISA, creditor protection under 401k. 401k has a higher quality in case there was some type of a lawsuit, some type of a bankruptcy. I mean, it's extremely hard to get to a 401k, and it's very, very hard to get to an IRA. But depending on the state you're in, it may not have the protections that an ERISA company retirement plan like a 401k has. Well, that's a big concern from safety. As far as lawsuits, you might want to keep it with that retirement plan with the company. Just being familiar with the investment choices, i.e. you've worked at Vanguard, or i.e. you worked at Fidelity, or i.e. you worked with Mass Mutual or T. Rowe Price, or whoever you're working, American Funds, whoever you're working with, maybe you're comfortable with those and you just don't want or need a diversification or allocation out of that. Not saying that's the best choice, but sometimes people are happy just having familiarity. Fees might be lower in a 401k because of the size, but then again, fees might be higher than something that you're showing right now. Could just be an easier choice. I mean, I don't want to do anything. I'll just leave it there. I don't want to mess with it. Again, maybe not the best thing to do, but it certainly is a choice that you make. How about rolling your retirement funds to a new company retirement plan? Well, it's really like keeping it at your own. I did include here that do you get service and guidance? Some of the bigger mutual fund firms, you can pay for service and guidance, though they really don't. I mean, I know how this works. They'll do an allocation according to your age, according to your risk, but do they really know the ins and outs that an advisor like us can get? No, they don't. They don't. If you need loan provisions, you can get it with the 401k, but you can't get it with an IRA. Yeah, might want to keep it there. So keeping it with a retirement plan or moving it to another 401k retirement plan, sometimes it's portable if it is. Yeah, people may do that, but having an individual retirement account, you can really self-direct. You can put in that as long as it's legal. Like you can't put most gold. You can't put in. You can't put life insurance in. There's some things you can't put in an IRA, but you have many, many more choices than you do with your 401k plan. To take a lump sum distribution, if you take a lump sum, here's the incredible figure: 53% of Americans pull their 401k out and pay taxes on all of it when they switch jobs. Can you believe that? Is that wild? And on that, the government's going to withhold 20%. So if you have $100,000 in your 401k and you go take the money out because you got, say, laid off and you need the money, they're only going to give you $80,000. $20,000 is going to go to pay for taxes. Now, if you ever want to make that back up and put it all back into a rollover, say within 60 days on an indirect rollover, you have 60 days if you get that money in hand, you have to come up with $20,000 out of your pocket or out of your savings or checking account. Not easy to do for a lot of people. So, excuse me. So what happens here is taking a lump sum distribution in most cases is not a good thing to do. Now, one thing is net unrealized appreciation. I'm not going to go through all of it now, but it's where you have company stock. So if you work for Hormel and have Hormel stock, Microsoft stock, Exxon stock. Yeah, if you do, that stock has normally a lower cost basis, and so it's highly appreciated. So for example, if you have $400,000 in your 401k, 100,000 of it's in company stock and 300,000 is in mutual funds. What you could do is it's called net unrealized appreciation. I have other slides on this in my full retirement seminar workshop, but what it basically does is you keep out that company stock, you put it into a personal account, you roll everything else over into a retirement account. By the end of the year, there's some real specific rules and strict rules that you have to abide by here. But what happens is the rollover, that's what you're working with, that 300,000 in mutual funds, wherever it happens to go. Managed account, fixed index annuities, whatever it happens, fixed annuities, wherever it goes. But the 100,000 gets rolled over into a brokerage account. Now, if you're not licensed, it would go to a brokerage account, and then another person, you kind of lose control of that, but it goes out. What's great is now it gets taxed as a long-term capital gain. So if you have a cost basis of $25,000 on $100,000 worth of stock, you're only going to pay ordinary gains on $25,000. On the other $75,000, it's now a long-term capital gain, normally taxed much less than ordinary income tax, especially if you're a higher income earner. We just had one of the people that we compliance supervise through our OSJ, and the only reason they got this account is because they told him about this specific type of tax help from that highly appreciated stock within it, and they got the entire amount. It was a big plan. Kind of cool. Now, if you didn't know that, this is really what this workshop does, is it isn't just to get you in front of qualified prospects, but it truly is going to get you a better understanding of how the retirement IRAs, 401ks, Roths, beneficiaries, how that works. Net unrealized appreciation, and then we talk about here. And I just put one slide, but we got several. I got 4 or 5 slides that are humorous. The experience is a good school, but the fees are high. I put things like this in to get a little bit of humor, and I just talk about, if you make a mistake in this retirement planning, it can be costly. If you're one day late with your RMD, required minimum distribution payment, they can fine you 50%. So if you're supposed to take out $5,000 and you don't, they can fine you $2,500, and you still have to take out $5,000 and be taxed on it. So it's extremely beneficial normally to work with someone like us who really understand that business. Tax-free Roth IRAs, remember that 5-year hold rule? We know now it really could be as little as a 3 years, 8.5-month rule, right? Yeah. Well, why Roth? Well, if you're not going to pay much taxes in retirement, then a tax-free Roth is not going to really benefit you. If you're going to be paying a fair amount of taxes in a tax bracket in retirement, then a Roth really comes into play. Also, there are no required minimum distributions on a Roth. Also, after 70.5, if you still have working income, you can add to a Roth. All of those things you cannot do with a traditional IRA. Now, are there income limits? Yeah. But buried filing jointly, you got to be in that high $195,000, $196,000 before it starts getting phased out. It's in the $130,000, $32,000 with single. So what happens is there are some phase out, but it doesn't affect most people. We talk about Roth IRAs. Yeah, we're talking about, Again, it talks about reduce or limit tax on Social Security. Remember, Social Security is taxed by using a provisional income tax kind of code, and that is your adjusted gross income plus any tax-free municipal bond interest, half of your Social Security. If that's above a certain levels, then either 50% of your benefit of your Social Security is taxed or 85% is taxed. What happens here is that you're reducing, you're eliminating taxation because Roth tax-free income or growth is not reported as far as provisional income of Social Security is. So pretty cool. Okay, next slide. There's not such a thing as a recharacterization now. That came out with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act bill of 2018, just came into play on January 1 of this year. So you cannot go back and say, I want to do a Roth conversion over again. Okay. Now there's indirect rollovers, indirect rollovers. Indirect rollovers you can do once a year, once every 365 days. A direct rollover or a direct transfer, you can do as many of those in a year's time as you want to. Those are the ones that you should really do. So an indirect rollover is when the check goes to you and the check is payable to you. Now we have lots of time with big custodian companies like Fidelity, like Vanguard, that you just get on the phone and they'll cut the check to the client, but it's made out to the new custodian. That's considered a direct rollover. The client cannot cash that check. It's not made out to him. An indirect rollover is where the money goes to you and the check's made out to you. So you do have a 60-day time limit that if you roll that money over to the new custodian, then there will be no taxation on that amount. Well, here's the tough thing. If it comes from a retirement plan at work, like a 401k, you know what? They're going to withhold. The government, the federal government, 20% of your is going to be withheld. So if you have $300,000, they withhold 20%. Yeah, $60,000. It's quite. I mean, where do you come up with $60,000 if you want to make good on that to roll the whole thing over? Nothing comes out on a transfer, on a direct transfer, and you can only do one of those every 365 days. If you do two, everything is taxed on both sides of it. Just horrific. It's a horrific penalty. So on a direct rollover or a transfer amongst custodian to custodian or trustee to trustee, yeah, now the assets aren't made out to you. They're made out to the new custodian. There's no 60-day rule. There's no 20% mandatory withholding. Okay? And you can do as many as you want over any time period. It's much more flexible, a lot less problems. You should try never, if you can possibly help it, to do a direct rollover. Unless your intention is to just cash all the money, that's a whole different matter. Then it's a cash out. But if it's a custodial transfer, you want to do it directly, not indirectly, not made out to you. Yeah, you could do it with, on direct rollover. You can certainly direct rollover an existing IRA with another agent or another advisor to ours, or it could, and put it into new money. No problem whatsoever. Now, when I'm going through those slides, do I take a little bit more time? Of course I do. Do I answer questions? This is a dinner workshop also. So do I answer questions? I do, as long as I can answer them within about 30 seconds to a minute. I don't want to take anything in depth, okay? But beneficiaries options, we talk about leaving it blank, which means then you die, not that you die intestate, say you do have a will, but you don't have any beneficiaries, which is going to revert back to the will. And remember, beneficiaries most of the time, not always, but most of the time, they do override the will. Name your estate or will, your spouse if married, your grandchildren, other individuals or children, and then a charity. And we recommend not to use a Roth IRA for charity as your beneficiary, just because a Roth IRA is already tax-free, and traditional money can go through a charity on tax-free basis also. Okay? We'll talk about trust, and we have a couple slides on trust. Here's another slide. It's by Henny Youngman. It says, I've got all the money I'll ever need if I die by 4 o'clock. Don't let that happen to you. Stretching beneficiaries or inheriting beneficiaries. Know that the RMD on an inherited beneficiary, the RMDs, required minimum distributions, are more. They're on a different table than on a traditional IRA as far as RMDs, required minimum distributions. So what happens here is that, and we talk about, there's several things here you can talk about: the separate account rule, naming your estate or will beneficiary goes through probate. There are some items you want through probate, like you want your lands, because if it's appreciated since the time you bought it, like a farm or a commercial property, you'll see that you get a stepped up cost basis upon death, which is great for your beneficiaries. But investments, insurance contracts, that beneficiaries, do you really want to go on in and go through the will with those? No, you don't. You'd rather bypass the will, have the money go directly to the said beneficiary. Okay. If any questions, certainly just bring them on up. There's a lot of information here, and again, when I'm coaching people through the 5 coaching sessions, what we do is we go slowly, we role play. We got a lot of reading material that we do. I mean, you should want to put in 3 to 4 hours a week of reading for a month's time, for 4.5 weeks time. Here's that per capita, per head versus per stirrupies, per bloodline. A little bit how it works. The bottom thing here is TODs, or transfer on death. They're really, what it is a beneficiary for non-IRA accounts. We talk about RMDs, required minimum distributions. Yeah. We talk a little bit about when they are, how much they are, when you have to take them. We talk a little about a qualified longevity annuity contract. I don't love those, but it is a way to go in and defer paying RMDs out. And we talk more about those with other slides that aren't here today. Arthur Godfrey said, I'm proud to be paying taxes in the U.S. The only thing is, I could be just as proud for half the money. A lot of people pay too much in taxes, pay more than they really need to. Are there ways we can go in and help you there? In-service non-hardship withdrawal plan. If you don't know what this is, or you haven't done one of those, you're missing out. This is where they're also called a 59.5 rule plan. At 59.5 or old or later in age, you are working for your company retirement plan. They're allowing you to take money out, and you can still work there. You can take a portion of the money out. You can take all of the money out. The in-service non-hardship withdrawal distribution option. It's a great way. The very easiest way. You can go to the human resource or to the investment director of the company, but you're better to go and just call the custodian. If it's Fidelity, call Fidelity up and said, do we have free withdrawals at 59.5? I'm still working for the company. And it used to be that maybe 20, 25, 30% of the Fortune 500 companies had it. Now the majority of the people have in-service non-hardship withdrawals. When you've got a large sum of money at the later years of your life, from a lawsuit standpoint, they could have said, hey, we would have done this, but we would have had this guarantee, but they didn't have a guarantee in the account that was competitive. They're trying to get away from liability here. In-service non-hardship withdrawal plan, very important. We worked with a lot of folks with that. And then we go through the specific rulings. And then Social Security. If you don't know Social Security, I'm telling you, 94% of all people will get Social Security in the U.S. How many people own stock? Well, it is 94%. It's more like 30%, or 25 to 30%. How many own bonds? Lower percentage. How many own annuities? Lower percentage. But Social Security, 94% of the people of retirement age 62 or over have a Social Security benefit. And if you don't know the ins and outs of Social Security, now on this workshop alone, we're not going to teach you the ins and outs of Social Security, but I certainly have classes and courses and workshops around Social Security, and it's a hot topic. It's a misunderstood topic. In 2015, on the Bipartisan Budget Act, they did away after 6 months a phase out of file and suspend, but restricted application if you're born on January 1 of 1954 or before, then you can still qualify for restricted. It's very similar to file and suspend, except for with the spousal benefit, you are a taker and not a giver. The majority of the people that I work with, over the hundreds of analysis reports I've given, restricted application, which is still available if you're old enough, was by far the primary source of extra income for that married couple. So a lot of people think, oh, the sizzle is off the steak. Well, it's not. And even without any kind of file and suspend or restricted, there's still so many things that the average American does not know about Social Security. So we just talked here about consider using IRA money first. Take an early RMD. Take it when you're 63, 66, 68, before 70 and a half. The government's going to force you to take it. What's the big deal if you take it early, but let your Social Security grow a guaranteed from 6% even up to 8%. If you count cost of living allowances, this year it's 10% guaranteed. Well, who can guarantee you 10%? Not many people. Not safely. Government guaranteed bond right now is around a little under 3%. Well, how are they going to guarantee 10%? They're not. But Social Security does. And there's a lot of things you look into this. Are you going to live long enough? Do you need the money now? Can you let the money? But by giving that information, you're viewed as the expert. And I will tell you right now, only about 25% to 30% of the advisors really understand Social Security inside and out, and you should be one of those. Okay. So I always say there's lots to think about, and there is. I mean, there's through the workshop, and I'm saying this to the prospects. I'm sure things have come up here that you maybe never really thought about before. And then what I do is I go on in and I tell them, in your green packet, there's a green packet. It has a bio of myself, or if you're doing the workshop, bio of yourself. We've got some articles that are pretty darn good that are in there about IRAs. But what I do is I say, take that out. And so that yellow sheet of paper, let's go back on that real quick here on that yellow sheet of paper. That is the evaluation form. So if I can get that back, somehow it popped up quicker than I wanted to there. No obligation consultation. So we set the appointment right there. I say, take this out. And then I say, but don't fill it out yet. Or I actually say, if you filled it out and said no, cross out that no, and let's start from a white scratch paper. But I talk about that there's specific times, specific dates, but before you fill this out, and then I go into the next one and I talk about the promises. And then the promises to you. I talk about leave your checkbook at home because we're not going to talk about product. I'll uncover one financial product. I go through this slower, of course, and more in depth with emotion. But I say, if you don't know what your best rollover options are from your company retirement plan, you probably want to mark yes for the consultation. If you're asking yourself, could a Roth conversion benefit me? Going from tax deferred to tax free, there's some things you have to look at, but if you have not had that done, you probably want to mark yes on that consultation form. How about complementing your Social Security with an investment or income stream? That could be important to you. Could a different investment choice be important to you? The beneficiaries that you use are important. They even override the will in most instances. So if you don't know that you've got the right beneficiaries, you probably need to mark yes. And lastly, a second opinion. Sometimes my wife says that the second opinion is the most important opinion. And then I go into my final slide. And again, I do it with emotion, but I say, folks, what happens here, and I talk about procrastination. I don't have that slide up there, but we talk about a procrastination slide. But I say what happens here is everybody knows who George Foreman is, right? Yeah, he made a lot of money in boxing, didn't he? Came back and won, maybe 3 or 4 different times, the heavyweight championship. And what happens is that George is is a rich guy, but where do you think he made the majority of his money? And then someone will say the George Foreman Grill. And I'll say, that's exactly right. So here's the sentiment as I'm leaving today, as we're filling out the evaluation forms, whether you want an appointment. Unless you have your name on a grill, you probably need to mark yes on the consultation form. And then everybody laughs, and they kind of are in a good mood, and then they turn in the consultation forms, or we pick those up, and then the meal is served. So that is the basic workshop. Covered a lot of areas. So it isn't just 401ks. It isn't just IRAs, but it's rollovers. It's Roth. It's Roth. It's beneficiaries. It is qualified longevity annuity contracts to show you how to defer paying so much in RMDs. It's talking about conversions, Roth conversions. I mean, you're talking about per stirpes. I mean, it is such an array of different retirement aspects. I mean, we're basically fishing. I remember years and years and years ago, it was at a dam, a small dam. I was there with my son who loved fishing when he was a little kid. He's probably 7, 8 years old. He's fishing with one line. I'm fishing with one line. And here this guy over here has like 6 or 7 fishing poles. I thought, is that legal? It must have been, because he was doing it. Is that legal? Well, that's what we're doing here. We're putting a lot of lines in the water, and we hope that they bite on one of those lines to get more information, more professional, qualified information that we're able to help them with. And then are we able to uncover maybe something there where we can help them from the investment standpoint or the insurance or annuity standpoint also. Now, it says 400 public seminars. I've actually presented 479 public seminars since the mid-'80s. That's between 15 and 20 a year, which I currently continue to do. I'm currently in production, and that's where the majority of my income comes from. I try to make a complicated subject much easier to understand. I mean, there's over 30 attachments, mostly articles that I mail to you through email that you get, and you get those at the end of each session when we're done. We do a weekly session for 5 sessions. It's a turnkey system. So I say A through Z. Basically, when you're done, we should be able to put the key in, turn it, and on goes the engine. Now, in the beginning, the engine might run a little bit rougher till it warms up, just because you haven't done this over and over and over again. But what happens here is that IM scholarship is worth $555. So I'm paid not from overrides. I'm paid from the coaching that you and IAMS helps with the scholarship. So I get paid $150 a session. That's for 5 sessions of $750. The FMO of IAM, Steve Murray's firm, pays $555 of it to me, and then you pay me $195. So the cost is very, very reasonable for the coaching. What the big cost is really the mailing out of the mailers, and then of course of the meal itself. So I'll open up the lines for questions. And Steve, do you kind of want to go in and give some comment here? As he's getting ready and putting his headphones on, I'm sure. I can hear you now.
Oh, God, my ears are so big I couldn't get my headset on.
Yeah.
Hey, great job as always, Dave. So I have a couple of comments that I would add to this. If you have been on webinars with Dave and I, some of this might seem a little redundant. So when we started doing seminars or offering seminars with producers, we had mixed success. Some guys did okay and some guys didn't do as well. And what we figured out, certainly, and we have learned more and more to be the case as time has gone on, is that there's no doubt that having that ongoing coaching is key. And Dave is really, really good at that part of it, and he always has been. So since Dave has begun doing seminars, whether it's Social Security, 401k, 8 retirement mistakes, we have 3 seminars that Dave makes available. He does a great job with our producers and helping them through every step of the way. And we believe that that's probably the most important part of being successful in seminars. You know, a lot of people think we got to have the right PowerPoint. You got to be the right kind of showman. You got to have, be in the right area. Actually, the most important part of being successful in seminars is to not make any of those little mistakes along the way. And that's what the coaching with Dave does for us. And so we don't offer seminars anymore without producer coaching. And Dave has not only coached them, our guys, through initially, but also helped them at every step of the way afterwards. So if you guys that have worked with Dave, they have a question 2 and 3 years later about, hey, this is something I ran into, they go back to Dave and get great solutions from a producer. That really is, in my opinion, the key is having the coaching, the step-by-step, and then being able to access someone that is currently doing the exact same thing that you're doing and, making their living every day from production. That's what Dave does. So those are the keys to success, really, in the seminar business. If you have interest in spending some time with Dave on the phone and seeing if it might be a good fit for you, I would put yes on this poll. Many of you, I think, have spent a little bit of time with Dave in the past, and some of you have done his Social Security seminar, it looks like. This is going to be a little bit different flavor. Of course, you got the meals. Dave, if you were going to say, in a nutshell, what's the difference between what you do with Social Security seminars and what you accomplish with your 401k and IRA rollovers, how would you characterize the difference in those groups?
I think on the 401k IRA rollover, because it's a dinner workshop, it is more social. It is more entertaining. I think people are kind of having a more fun time. Or there's some people that don't sign up for an appointment. Of course there is. But when they sign up for an appointment, they know that you're looking, you're there to look and see if you can help them with their 401k or their IRA or their rollover or their Roth IRA. They know it's a money appointment. The Social Security is a little bit different, though it certainly is doable. But you're really kind of switching from Social Security over to maybe looking at their assets and see what you can do. It's a little more straightforward. I think that you don't get quite as many appointments with the 401k, but the ones that you get, there's almost always there's money available. Now, whether you can get all of that money, that's another question. It depends on how good your sales skills are, but it's a little more forthright. And I tell you what, I think that what happens is that people are always amazed. I think they know a little bit about the average person, probably a bit about rollover 401ks and their plan, but when they get out of this, it's like, boy, we better talk to that guy or gal because we don't know nearly as much as we thought we did.
Sure. And, from a cost standpoint and benefit standpoint, in terms of the people that you meet and the opportunity to do business, how would you qualify the difference between the two?
I think if there's bigger dollars that you work with the 401k, it's a unique seminar too. You hardly ever see a dedicated 401k IRA rollover seminar. I think that what happens is when people come to this, they almost always have a 401k and they got questions about it, and you're there to answer it for them. Also, on both seminars, whether it's 401k rollover or Social Security, what's really kind of a cool afterthought benefit is that the advisor, the agent, learns so much about the subject also. On those 5 questions that we had, if you answered all of those and you got the right answer on every single one, hey, you know what? Then you're in that top 5%. But when we're done coaching on this subject, in the language itself, if you just get the seminar and read the language and memorize the language, I promise you're going to know more than you did going in. And in our business, knowledge is power. Knowledge is not more income. Getting in front of qualified prospects is more income. This does it both. It gives you the potential to get in front of a lot of clients through a seminar setting. And don't think seminars are dead. They're not. They are absolutely not dead. Otherwise, Steve, as you know, we have a large group of seminar folks that on a consistent basis, they may not do 15 or 20 a year, but they certainly do 4 to 8 seminars a year and have success there, with those. So yeah, I think it's twofold. You're going to get in front of qualified prospects. And the second thing is you're going to learn more about the subject so you can answer those questions. And I think that knowledge certainly puts you a step up of many advisors and agents that are out there right now.
Sure. When, you and I have talked about this a number of times, but when you look at our top 20 and how many of those folks do seminars, it is astounding. And, I have heard, you see stuff on the internet or guys, seminars don't work. Well, seminars absolutely work, so don't let anyone, I think what doesn't work is doing a seminar and then stopping. That's definitely done.
Well,
It just doesn't.
You're exactly right. And you know
Yeah.
what? You know what happens is, Steve, and we've talked about this many times before. Not doing anything. I mean, coming to a webinar like this. And Steve, have we put the poll up yet?
It is. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Almost
good,
everybody's voted. There's a couple of people that haven't.
Real good. Okay. What happens is that not doing anything, listening to something and then not putting it into action. I mean, it doesn't make you any better. There are professional webinar attendees out there in the world. We don't want you to be that. We want you to go in and say, hey, let's see if this could be something. It's not for everybody. Maybe you don't publicly speak well at all. You get afraid or you get uptight. Well, then it probably isn't for you. You know, you don't have $3,000, $4,000 that you can spend. I'm not saying that's easy to do, but you know what? Where I'm going to go in and have 10, 12 prospects, brand new prospects that I'm able to go in and talk to, that's a lifeblood within. And you know what? If I just do business with one, it probably covers my cost. If I do business with one for the average of fixed index annuity sales, probably, Steve, what do you think, 70, 80,000 right now? Is that an average?
A bit higher than that, but yeah.
A little higher?
Yep.
Let's say it's 100,000, and you get paid 6%. That's $6,000. Well, all of a sudden, you've paid for all the workshops. Say the workshop is $4,000 or $4,300. You put a couple thousand in your pocket on just one, not counting if you have 2 or 3 sales. So in last month, I had some big fixed indexed annuity come in, and it was originally from the workshop. So if I can help you, give you some ideas, get you on a track that has kind of winning appeal to it, I'd love to talk to you.
Yep, and really nobody's better than Dave. It looks like we have just one person that hasn't voted on the poll, so I'll leave it open while we just finish up here. So when I look back at what the folks that have worked through you with coaching have accomplished in the seminar business, truly is astounding. I mean, you've really taken probably 6 to 10 guys a year that were kind of on the verge of being, solid producers and move them over that edge to, $3, $4, $5 million a year folks. That's what seminar does. Now, those guys are spending, probably $30,000 to $40,000 a year now on seminars. But how easy is it to make up that with business if you have the right assistance?
That's right. That's right. Well, you're looking at your ROI. What's your rate of return on money invested? I mean, that's what you're really doing. And what happens here is that you're not going to continue doing seminars if you don't have success of giving them. I think one of the big thing in kind of the FMO, field marketing organization business, is there's a lot of good seminars out there. It is, and you said this before, it's not the seminar that makes it, but how many have a coach, i.e. Dave Pimper, that walks you through the language, walks you through how to set up the room, walks you through how to answer questions, walks you through not just myself, but Lynn Feldhauser and Amy, both in our office. They help immensely with getting everything set up. We have a designated person with our mail house, and Becky does a great job on the demographics, and she sees so many workshops that are out there. So does it guarantee a success? No. But does it keep you out of the ditches? It does. It does. And our goal here is once you do 2 or 3 workshops that you look back and say, hey, this is a track I can follow to get new prospects on board to clients.
That's really, really good stuff. And we've had a good meeting here. I know there are a couple of questions that some guys have had, but I'm looking at, looks like they also put yes to chat with you. So we'll get them answered one-on-one for them. Is there anything that you want to add as we close out here, Dave?
No, I'm just looking forward to, we had a good showing today of agents, advisors across the country. So, happy post-labor holiday to you. My name's Dave Pimper with Lazarus Coaching, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you and see if I can give you some insight to how to increase your production.
Thank you, Dave. And I want to end up by thanking you all for taking some time out. I know after a long weekend, you're probably feeling a little pressure to get back into the process of, building business and paying your bills. So we appreciate you've taken some time to join us here today. And whatever we can do here at IAMS to help you, most of the folks on board with us today are regular producers. Thank you for that, by the way, everybody. For those of you that maybe don't know enough about IAMS to feel comfortable, I'd love to chat with you. Make sure that we're meeting your needs and can meet your needs going forward. And for those of you that are regularly doing business with us, thank you so much for that. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope you will continue to look to IAMS for all of your business growth needs. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Have a great finish to your week, and please let us know what we can do to help you. And Dave, thank you for your time as well. I know you've got a lot of things going on as well. So thank you for your time.
Good. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.